Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. I am Joseph Ward, and this is Mind Your Body and Soul. And Mind Your Body and Soul is an educational podcast that focuses on all things health related to help our listeners learn more about various health topics and information they may or may not have access to. We seek to inform, empower, uplift, and mobilize our listeners to become the healthiest versions of themselves. Remember, you can catch us on our website or here on this YouTube channel. Our website is www.nmcpodcast.com. Our parental website is www.neighborhoodmedicalcenter.org. And make sure you check out that website for your local health needs. And we're also available on Breaker, Radio Republic, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and of course this YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Like all of the information we have is designed to uplift, empower, and inform our people so we can make the best decisions and have the resources we need to be better and create better. So a couple weeks ago, let's say before, I say about a month ago, we were on campus. So if you know my face, you know what I do. We do a lot of outreach, HIV/AIDS testing and outreach within our community. We have a partnership with FAMU Student Health, and on the set Fridays, on the Fridays on FAMU campus, we're pretty much on FAMU campus every Friday. So this particular Friday, we were on campus. Of course, we meet all types of people and we talk to all types of people. But we ran into a student who had an interesting project and an interesting suit that she's taken on, and we were talking, and we want to know more about it, but also give her a platform so she can help spread her message a bit more. So Trenece Roberts, right? She's a student advocate from one of my favorite states, the state of Louisiana. Right? A lot of culture in that state. I'm a Floridian, but a lot of culture in that state, right?
Best state in the country.
Hey. She's speaking on her experience of having an abortion and her overall experience as a Black woman, especially a Black woman in America and a Black woman in the South. She is currently getting her bachelor's degree in sociology from the Florida A&M University, where she's the current vice president of her Generation Action chapter. She's also a Planned Parenthood Florida Black Organization Fellow for the 2022-2023 year. She's involved with reproduction justice. She'll be more involved with that once she graduates. And she's involved in talking about and learning more about Black feminist theories. And she has all types of interests that go outside of the advocacy. But we are here to talk about the advocacy. We are here to talk about her work and everything that she's doing. So I would like to welcome to our Mind, Your Body, and Soul audience to Ms. Trenece Roberts.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And help me help the community amplify their voices. I really do appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Like I said, this is a platform. That's what this platform is for. So we want to reach out and be able to connect with people in the community, but also make sure our community understands resources. So let's start from the beginning. So what is the name of your project?
At the moment, I haven't named this project yet.
Okay.
As of right now, in its current state, is called We Won't Shut Up. I pretty much got this idea whenever I was actually paying attention to sessions for the first time. Because like I always been like very passionate about like human rights and like politics and stuff. But like I wasn't sure how to get involved until like Planned Parenthood started email saying like, hey, because at this point in time I just joined Generation Action last year. They're like, hey, we're looking for people to volunteer and sit in during sessions for the HB. I forgot the numbers, but it's a 15-week ban. The 15-week ban, whenever the legislators was going to pass it. So I went, and unfortunately I have to go before they got on that bill. Like there's some other bills, but I went to the Florida channel and just like watched the whole thing. By the time they had gotten to the abortion ban, and I remember being so irked by it because it was these people saying like, oh well, I know people who has had an abortion, and they said that they were traumatized by it. And I'm sitting here as someone who has had an abortion being like, no. And also, like, at this point in time, I already seen like the clips of, like, I forgot who she was, but like she was saying like people who has survived abortions don't have any limbs, and I'm like, there are white, like, I'm like, these are people that are like officially elected, and they don't even know any of the facts, and they're just getting these random stories and stuff like that. And then like they're and then even for the people that was like defending it, they're like, oh yeah, but like what if there were rape and what if there was incest? And like for me, it wasn't. I had an abortion because I didn't want to have a kid, and
So,
I didn't like how they was advocating for it. Like I didn't like it.
but see, that's important what you're saying, because a part of the root of this is misinformation and false narratives or made up narratives based off of assumptions surrounding abortion. So it's almost as if they were saying that if you, because it seemed like what you're explaining, they're saying if you had an abortion, then it's going to be something that's really going to like disfigure you, or be detrimental to your health, or anything like that. It's kind of like they're discouraging abortions from the standpoint of trying to scare you away from getting it rather than educate you on the full process.
Exactly. And like I said, like even the people that are advocating for it, they were saying like, oh yeah, it's like they kind of made it associated with like traumatic events like sexual assault and stuff, and it's like I didn't get sexually assaulted whenever I had my abortion. It was fully consensual. I just didn't want to have a kid, and I just didn't like that narrative being pushed. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I got invited to like go to the speakers bureau, and that was like the first time like I made up my mind like I'm gonna start telling my story about how I had an abortion and stuff, especially as a Black woman, because oftentimes like I don't see people that look like me tell those stories, or like have my experience of like growing up like low income, being first generation college student, and going to HBCU. I don't know that many people, so I'm like, I'm gonna start telling my story. Like I got interviewed by a couple of people from like down south and told my story there. Um, then I got the fellowship on the Black organizing program, and they're like, okay, you gotta come and wear a project. And I'm like, I wasn't sure what to do until the journalist came up to me and she's like, hey, I'm looking for HBCU abortion stories. And I told her mine, but she asked, like, do you know anyone else? I said, no. Which is wild considering the fact that Planned Parenthood, there's a whole Planned Parenthood clinic in Tallahassee, not that far from campus.
Right.
And I'm like, ain't no way no one else has a story. So I decided to like come up with this, try to start collecting Black reproductive justice stories overall, because I didn't just want to make it about abortion, because the work that I do is like reproductive justice, which isn't just about abortion and having a rights to it. That is a Black feminist framework that came about like I believe late during Clinton's administration, when they was trying to pass a bill about um about healthcare and stuff.
Right.
And they're like, they felt these 12 Black feminists felt like it wasn't that inclusive to the Black experience, and also it didn't really provide like a comprehensive thing, a comprehensive policy on like abortion, and abortion wasn't included. So they're like, okay, we gotta like do something about this. So they came with this framework, and pretty much like the tenets of that is the right to bodily autonomy, the right to have kids, the right to not have kids, and the right to raise the children that we currently have in the world in a safe and healthy environment. Which I feel like is way better than just like the whole pro-choice model, because it's just like you should have the right to abortion, but like no one talks about like how expensive an abortion is. Like mine cost $500.
Well,
it was a miracle that I was able to collect that 500.
Well, see, I've worked in the world of prevention for 13 years. And so that's how my mind works, prevention. But I also live in the real world. So I think prevention, but majority of people don't think prevention. We do know a lot of us have been kind of socialized to be a bit reactive, more so than proactive. And so that's so the holistic view of it. I do like that. I actually appreciate that, because it is front end, middle, and back end awareness, protection, resource. Because one of the main things you are going to need, and all of our if you looking at this podcast, she needs resources. So you need to be able to support what she has going on. But that's the main thing, is you being able to not only tell your story, but have resources after telling your story, so you can help yourself and others be able to really, because when we're talking about, you're talking about using the power of story.
Mm-hmm.
The power of story is going to be able to be impactful with resources supporting stories, with people supporting stories. So that's one of the main things that we do want to make sure come out of this podcast and this partnership, is you being able to have access to resources. So other young women, because like you're saying, this is a college town, and you are having difficulty finding other, especially other Black women, to tell their stories or even have abortion stories.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I haven't came across anyone. Like, I just, like, at this point in time now, I just kind of, like, if I'm having a casual conversation, like, I'll make a joke, like, yeah, I had an abortion in the most casual way possible. But honestly, like, I don't know anyone else, which is wild. And I think it's because, like, it's so much stigma around abortion overall. I've since being at FAMU, like, I've had like a couple like encounters where someone might make like a comment saying like, oh, if you have an abortion, that means you can never have kids again, which I know is a lie, because my mama, she had like 2 abortions. She still had more kids after that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I know that's a lie. I remember, like, in a class, the professor brought up, like, the 15-week ban and Roe v. Wade getting overturned, and he had said, like, oh, well, most of the people who have abortions are white, and someone says, yeah, because Black women always keep their babies, and I'm just sitting here sweating, like, yeah, they do, I guess. I'm sitting here breaking out in sweat. I'm like, yeah.
It's a lot of misinformation going on.
It really is a lot of misinformation. But honestly, like, I'm not solely looking for abortion stories, because in my opinion, you don't even really need to have an abortion or be a person with a uterus to really care about this. Or to even or to like have a reproductive justice story is what I'm trying to say. Everyone has one, which is why, like, I decided to, like, instead of just making like abortion storytellers reproductive justice ones, because everyone has one. Like, you, like, being like a human being, like, you have some experience in regards to like access to like reproductive education, or know someone who probably was a teen mom. Hell, like, even before I had an abortion, like, I was really into this because, like, I have a teen mom, and I saw how she struggled to take care of us and stuff like that, which she did a pretty decent job. I have to say that because she might watch this. So I feel like everyone has a story to tell, and I think it's essentially very important for especially Black people to tell those stories, because like I said, oftentimes, like, you only hear it from like the white perspective instead of like what it's like to be Black and dealing with these issues, like lack of access to like education, lack of access to like reproductive health care, because like we are so traumatized and fearful of the medical system, and oftentimes been like ignored and neglected, that we don't even know how to really even take care of our reproductive health. Which is why I appreciate all the work that y'all do on the set. Like, that makes me so happy just to see y'all little bus on the set passing out condoms and stuff. Like, I think that's very important. And then also, like, which is why I think, another reason why I think it's important for like Black storytellers to be telling their stories in regard to like reproductive justice too, is the fact that like we kind of have like a big stigma around sex. Like, you already know the fast girl, the stereotype of the fast girl, or your uncle's coming over, so you have to put on like put on pants or something, you know, you're just in your PJs and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm trying to find a way to like articulate what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying, because you're talking about creating safe, and we live in a society where sex is vastly misunderstood, right? Sexuality, sensuality, all of that, I feel like it's kind of thrown in the box. Like, all of the ideas of sex is kind of thrown in the box, and it's just looked at one way, and it's not necessarily broken down into its true form. But like you're saying, you have an environment where, well, you know, because as a man, I hate to hear it, but I understand where it comes from. I hate to hear that a woman is not not safe in a house full of men. And I know that is a truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the truth, but it's
Exactly.
a truth. But as a man, I can get upset that that's a truth, but I can't get upset that it exists, because it does exist, and we have to work to help to change those things.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's important for us to start telling our stories about, like, because, like, if you hear someone else tell their story, you'll feel less alone, you know? Like, if you hear someone say, like, yeah, I dealt with sexual violence and stuff, and now I'm okay, or just, like, that happened to me, and what I went through is valid, and I am a victim, and I deserve, like, peace and stuff. And someone else might hear that, and they're like, wow, I feel so validated by that. So that's why, like, I'm loud and very vocal about my experience of, like, of me with my reproductive justice story, because, like, I want someone else to hear that and be like, wow, I had an abortion. Maybe I should feel comfortable in that. I shouldn't feel bad about it, because, like, yeah.
So, and if you don't mind, and we don't have to go deep into it, but if you don't mind speaking a bit about your abortion, what was that experience like? Because you say you had to come up with $500. So what was that experience like as far as the resource standpoint, having to come up with the money to get the abortion and even get to the clinic? Did you feel any trepidation? Did you have any ideas of, I may not want to do this, or any overall, what were your thoughts and feelings going through that process?
So, which I don't mind telling the story. I tell it all the time at this point. I don't mind. So it was December 2019. I, at this point in time, was still living in Louisiana. Me and my partner at the time, we're like, oh, let's go to Tallahassee, because we're both thinking about transferring over to FAMU. And we decided to stop by Tallahassee, stay with a couple of friends and stuff like that, to, like, dispel the vibes and everything. Mm-hmm. So before we left, I'm like, I don't think my period came on. And he's like, do you want to take a test? I said, I don't know what it was, God, the universe, I don't know. But my gut said, girl, wait till you go to Florida. And I'm like, okay. So we go to Florida. We're here in Tallahassee. We're getting settled in for the trip and stuff. And then we decided to go get a pregnancy test, because I'm like, my period still haven't come on. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, we get a pregnancy test. It was positive. I'm like, that's a lie. We go get another pregnancy test. That's a faulty positive. That's no way that's positive. Then we go to Walgreens. We had the electrical one. We had the little non-electrical one. We had all of it. And I'm like, all of it is positive. Mm-hmm. All of it saying pregnant, and, like, in all different ways. And I'm like, no, I can't be a teen mom. Like, I know it's 19, but I'm still a teen. I was like, no, I made this far. No, I wasn't 19. I was 20. I don't know why I keep saying 19. I got confused with 2019. Right. I was 20. God. So I'm like, oh no, ain't no way I'm pregnant. That's wild. And I just felt so many complicated emotions. Like, it was joy in a sense, because I had this anxiety, like, what if I can't have kids? Mm-hmm. Which I think anyone with a uterus, like, feel anxious about, like, what if I can't have kids? Right. Which is wild, because, like, I have, like, 8 other siblings, so I don't know why I thought that. But I'm like, oh, I can have a kid. That's really dope. But I can't keep it. Because even, like, wherever me and the person I was with at the time were talking about, like, being sexually involved with each other, we already have to talk. Like, I'm having an abortion. Because at this point in time, I just started my sophomore year in college. Things are taking off for me really good. And I'm like, I can't have a kid. And it's not solely because of that, too. It's because, like, which caused me to feel, like, a lot of, like, anger and resentment. I think that radicalized me a little bit. I felt anger because I'm like, I should be able to have a kid if I want to, but I can't, because, one, I still need to work on my childhood trauma. I refuse to bring a child into the world especially since I have not handled my childhood trauma and the generational curses within my family. I need to handle that first. And I got mad because like I should be able just to do that with ease, but like access to mental health is like so difficult, especially like being like a Black woman trying to find like a Black therapist. So mad society about that. Mad because financially I'm unable to take care of the child because, like I said before, like I grew up in a very low income household. Like there's no generational wealth. So I got angry about that. I just felt so much rage and anger and like sadness and sorrow. And also I got angry because I'm like, now I gotta deal with like people looking down on me. Because for a while, like what made me very hesitant to even like start speaking out is because I worry people might look at me different, like I'm damaged or something. And I remember thinking like, oh boy, now there's another list of traumatic things to add to my list. So like I'm crying, I'm upset. I try to find a clinic in Louisiana because I'm like, well, we could just enjoy the rest of our trip and we could just go to Louisiana. There's only, at least I haven't looked it up in a minute. It might have changed. But at that time, I think there was only like 3 clinics, and I called some of them, and one of them, like the receptionist, was like very snappy at me. She's like, "Make up your mind. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" I'm like, I don't know. Like I just got scared and confused and just like upset because like she wasn't patient with me at all. She was like, "Make up your mind. You have to come here, then leave after 24 hours, and then come back."
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Right.
And also, I would have had to look at the ultrasound. And I'm like, what? And she's like, make up your mind. Hurry. Right. And I'm like, okay.
That's not a good experience.
It wasn't a good experience. I'm like, okay. I said yes to the appointment. We set up an appointment. I'm like, I'm not going there. And I remember that I saw Planned Parenthood whenever we went to Walmart. I'm like, there's a Planned Parenthood. Let me call them. So I called them and I'm like, okay, how much will that cost? Because at this point in time, I didn't have health insurance because I wasn't sure how health insurance worked. And I know that sounds like really goofy, like, oh, you're
it don't sound crazy. I mean, it sounds normal. Most people don't know how health insurance works until you actually have to work it.
Like I didn't know how health insurance worked at all because like growing up, I didn't have access to like healthcare like that because I grew up in a very small town that don't have a grocery store at this point. So like access to like the nearest like doctor and stuff was like 30 minutes away. And that's if you're lucky enough to even have a vehicle that worked good enough to even drive that far.
Right.
So I wasn't sure how healthcare worked, so I didn't have health insurance, so it cost $500. Unfortunately, my partner had to like spend up all the money that we had saved up for the trip, that he saved up for the trip, towards that abortion. So we go to the clinic. I'm like nervous as hell. Like I'm laughing at this point. Like my coping mechanism with like stressful situations is to laugh about it. I learned that one from my mama. Again, she is probably watching this, so I have to like shout her out. So like I've learned to just like laugh about it. Like I'm laughing, I'm cracking little jokes here and there. The receptionist, which I don't know how I do this, but I attract black spaces, and all the receptionists there were like all black women or black men presenting peoples. And they made me feel so safe and cozy. They're like, hey, how are you? Sweetest people. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm like, I'm here for my abortion. They're like, okay, we got you. Like, didn't make me feel shameful at all. Wherever I got my check-in and stuff, so they get my medical history, the person writing it down in her office, she had like Lauryn Hill music playing in the background. I'm like, oh, I'm safe. So when I got my ultrasound, they didn't force me to look at it. They made sure that I fully consent to it. They made me feel as safe as possible. Whenever I had the procedure, like I legit don't remember because like they put me under, like I blinked because I had gotten the surgical procedure, not the pill. So I blinked and they're like, we're done. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this went really pleasant than I expected because like I was seeing me all the time of like people depicting this kind of like situation as like, oh my god, it's so dramatic. Like I bring up Dear White People as an example because that was like the most like primary representation that I have of a black woman getting an abortion at that point. And seeing like Coco go under and she's scared. She has like the ghost fetus following her around. And I'm like, oh no, that's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, Hollywood, yeah. See, Hollywood like to exaggerate and misinform us. But so what city were you in when you had when you actually had the abortion with the good experience and the good environment? What city was that?
It was Tallahassee. Here.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
here. Right here on West Tennessee Street.
Okay. And so what city are you from?
I am from the little old town of Melville, Louisiana in St. Lucie Parish.
Okay. Okay. So I think because as you're talking, I'm listening, I'm putting pieces together. So one of the main things that this podcast exists for is, like I said, to connect people with resources. So healthcare in Tallahassee is different from healthcare, and I just use Madison County or Gaston County.
Mm-hmm.
There's healthcare available, but it's limited healthcare and it's limited resources. So, like you're saying, if I'm from the far parts of Gaston County, back off in the woods in Gaston County,
mm-hmm.
it's going to be different from me trying to get to medical care or even get to an abortion clinic or any type of medical space in the woods in Gaston County than I am in Tallahassee. So we're talking about access to resources as well. But one of the best things about Tallahassee is Tallahassee does have resources, and Tallahassee has resources for different demographics. So you mentioned being able to find healthcare in Black spaces because of the medical maltreatment and the misinformation that historically has happened to Black people in America. We don't have an overall trust. But I tell people all the time, my primary doctor is Black, my hematologist is Black, my dentist is Black. So in Tallahassee, we do have those privileges or that access. Now that's not everywhere. I understand that
it's not everywhere. Yeah, I agree on that.
Right. And so being that this is a college town and we do have those resources, I do want people to know who are in Tallahassee or listening to this to understand Neighborhood Medical Center and Bond Community Health Center are the two main places as far as cultural competency and being able to be in Black medical spaces. Neighborhood Medical Center and Bond Community Health Center are the two main spaces where we can go and receive medical care. But there are other Black doctors and Black physicians and just Black medical professionals in Tallahassee. So I will always advocate, go to the different hospital websites, or even go to one just Google just different Black doctors or just different doctors in your region to be able to find who's who, because I understand what you're saying. Because of the distrust, like me, I'm a Black man. We don't go to the doctor, and I do now, but I just started back going to the doctor maybe 2 years ago, like I'm supposed to, because of having health insurance. And so I get it from that standpoint of when we don't have resources and we don't have access, it's going to make things more difficult for us to be at our healthiest and even access to stuff that we need to help us be our healthiest. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I feel like we as a Black community, like I think we need to focus more on like issues like getting access to like healthcare and stuff, and try to like break down the distrust that we have within medicine. Because if we don't, then we're screwed. Like we have to make sure that we're healthy and that we're good and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if we don't, then what we're gonna do?
But that also part of the advocacy that you're doing as well is because we always talk about representation, and representation matters. So unfortunately, within our community, the representation that's seen a lot is of influencers, social media, celebrities, athletes, and celebrities. So unfortunately, I was looking at a stat that especially American children, 50% of American children want to be influencers when they grow up. And so that takes away from our medical professionals. That takes away from different people who, like yourself, advocates who can be those people in those places and help provide resources and services. Because if Black doctors are already not represented in full now, imagine how it will be in 20 years when you have a whole generation who has no interest in medical care. And that's going to be bad for us. So advocacy like what you're doing, it has multiple points of impact, because it can impact some young person now to say, you know what, this is why I want to be a doctor, to be able to help young ladies like her. And that experience that you, because you were glowing talking about that experience. That's one of the main things we talk about. We work in HIV/AIDS. If a person has a bad experience with us, they may not come back to services ever again, and they need the care that they need. So that experience is very important. So I'm glad that you did tell. You told your story, but you also told the bad and the good, and that's an important part, so people can understand that you may have a bad experience, but keep seeking out care, keep seeking out help, so you can have that good experience as
well. Definitely. A part of me feel like they're gonna be in the phase of being like, oh, I want to be an influencer. I did not imagine me being an advocate. I thought I was gonna be like a movie star or something. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We all did. We all did. I
We're
was
like,
going to the NFL.
I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna be like him. I thought I was gonna be Hannah Montana. I really thought I was gonna be her. But I think like kids going like realize like maybe I want to be a doctor, cause like they're kids. They haven't really like decided what they want to do. But yeah, I do agree that we need to be like, hey, we need more Black and brown bodies in the medical field, because we have things like medical biases that gets in the way for us getting quality health care. That's why like I believe, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like 43% of people who are positive with HIV or AIDS are Black. I think it's 43 or something like that, right?
It's around that. It's around that percentage. I'm not sure of the new, because you know the new stats just came out, so I haven't had a chance to look at that. But we do have the highest percentage, though.
We do have the highest percentage, and that's because like stigma, also the homophobia within the Black community, and as well as like our mistrust in medicine. So like that's pretty much like the work I want to do essentially. Like I really want to like help like dismantle that and create like more of a safe space for us to get the quality healthcare that we deserve. And we can start that by like telling our stories with the turn on stories, whether it's like, it don't really even have to be reproductive justice. It could just be you telling your story of dealing with medical bias or dealing with phobia and stuff like that when going to the doctors and stuff. Because like I think it's a saying that still in medical books could be taken out at this point, but I think it's a saying that medical students are taught that Black people have a higher pain intolerance. I think it's a saying that there are Black people who give birth are 3 times more likely to die giving birth. That should not be the case, and it's because of medical biases and stuff like that. And we have more Black people involved, then we could change the narrative and make it easier for us to gain access to healthcare. And even probably people start saying like different things like I forgot the name of the TikToker, but the TikToker that makes like medical diagrams, because most medical diagrams are like white. Like I don't like, if I look up what does eczema look like on the skin, it's gonna show me like white skin. It's not gonna show me like what that would look like on someone who's like melanated or who's like deeply melanated and stuff like that. So I definitely agree. I think we need more representation in the medical field as much as we can, honestly.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, we need to take further steps to create those things for ourselves, because if the current system hasn't created that for us now, they're not going to do it. And so we have to make sure. So, but that's why supporting people like yourself, supporting our doctors, we need to be supporting our professionals the same way we support our athletes, the same way we support our celebrities. We need to support our medical professionals and all of our professionals in the same manner. That way we can have the support and have the resources that we need.
what I'm doing is host a series of workshops about storytelling and what reproductive justice is. It's way more than abortion. You don't have to have an abortion to come to this. I will be posting that soon on my Instagram. There will be a series of workshops, and also that will lead to a big storytelling event where we'll all get together as a community and tell our stories. I will be posting more information regarding my little project on @love.trenece. And Trenece is spelled, for those who are listening, TRENECE.
You said at love.trenece?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's your Instagram handle?
That's my Instagram handle.
All right.
So you can hit me up and DM me on there. And I'm sure in the show notes there'll be a link to the forum that I have, so you can put in your stories. And I will be getting in touch with everyone as soon as I can to let you guys know when it's the first workshop.
Right. Okay. And well, yeah, because that's what I was going to ask about your IG handle and where that place people can contact you. So at love.trenece, TRENECE. Make sure you reach out to her on Instagram. We will now, when we're going to start back doing our testing on the set on the 20th. So we're pretty much doing every Friday on the set. So if you ever see us on the set, you want to partner and come and kind of partner with us. As we access people, you can access them too. You more than welcome. And that'd be a stepping stone for you to be able to become more familiar with some of the health resources that we have available, so you can have that for other people and maybe find some more stories to tell.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you telling your story. You being brave enough to tell your story. Appreciate that. Appreciate you wanting to take action and do something about it. Now we want to help in being able to couple that with actual resources so you can get your project done and be able to help people accomplish. So we need to stay in touch with that, and that's a whole nother reason for this interview. So all of my viewers, reach out to the young lady. We're always talking about, we want young people in our community doing things and making it better. Have a young lady doing things, making it better. Reach out. She needs resources. She needs help. Let's make sure we reach out and we help her so she can get these stories. And I like how she put it. When she's talking about reproductive justice, she's not just talking about one specific aspect. She's talking about the totality of reproductive justice that we can have, and also real access to healthcare and great experiences within healthcare. So let's make sure we are helping and supporting her as we do that. So once again, Trenece, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. And like I said, if it's anything that we can help you with, let us know. And we would definitely do our best to help you with. But yeah, we have to make sure that we are supporting each other and getting the information out. And let's tell these stories. Let's make these stories powerful with these resources.
Definitely. Thank you for having me and the ambiance of FAMU Quad.
Yes.
On the show today. I appreciate it.
We love FAMU, but I definitely stay in touch with you, and good luck on everything that you have going on, and don't be afraid to reach out.
I won't.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. And rest of you all, I see you all. We'll see you all soon. Remember, this is Mind, Your Body, and Soul. This is the healthiest podcast you have ever heard. And remember, we are focused on all things health related to help our listeners learn more about various health topics and information they may not have access to. We seek to inform, empower, uplift, and mobilize our listeners to become the healthiest versions of themselves. www.nfc podcast is our podcast website. www.neighborhoodmedicalcenter.org is our parental website. Remember, we're on Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and especially right here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. That's how we do it. See y'all later. Peace.